Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. We've got a very special live preview show getting ready to go all the way up until kickoff at 6 p.m. as the LA Galaxy are in Texas to take on FC Dallas, a game that could have some supporter shield implications. Want to welcome everybody to the show. I'm your host, Josh Gessman. Thanks for stopping by on a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Again, the LA Galaxy just about an hour away from kicking off against FC Dallas. It should be very interesting to see how all of that comes down in regards to the LA Galaxy and everything else that is going on. So let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's exciting that we need to talk about before we even get started. And the answer is I don't think so. I think we could just kick it up. Lots of games going on, and we're going to be able to cover some of those games as we go forward. Some of those games include a game going on right now between the New York Red Bulls and Philadelphia Union, which is now tied at halftime. So some interesting stuff going on in the Eastern Conference. You have Columbus up 1-0 over Chicago. Toronto FC, a team that is very much in the supporter shield race right now. They are sitting 0-0 in about the 23rd minute with DC United. So lots of stuff is going on. And as we go, we're going to be able to update you on all the scores and everything else that is happening around the league that could possibly affect your LA Galaxy as we get closer and closer to this kickoff in a very much what could be considered a must-win game for the LA Galaxy. I want to make sure that you guys know you're more than welcome to tweet at me at Galaxy Podcast. I'm controlling that right now. Or, of course, you can call into the show. The show is always open for you. This phone line should be open for the remainder of the hour. So if you want to talk about anything regarding the LA Galaxy, if you have questions that maybe I can answer, or any insights I can possibly provide, or if you just want to get on the air and say hi, 949-734-4217 is the telephone number for you. That's, again, 949-734-4217, and you can get right here on the air. We can discuss about any LA Galaxy stuff that you want to talk about. I also appreciate it if you could share us with everybody that you know. So go on Twitter and retweet the links. Do whatever you can to get our show noticed. And I just want you to know this show will not be a podcast. This won't be anywhere. This is a special live pregame show that we're going to do just for you guys on YouTube. So we're glad that you could join us. And I'm looking forward to talking about some more LA Galaxy stuff. Some stuff, if you've listened to the podcast already, that came out on Thursday night that I did with Wendy. You can certainly check that out by going to cornerofthegalaxy.com and checking out all of our podcasts, our articles. Wendy wrote a wonderful pregame article that should get you ready for this game as well. And the interesting thing is the LA Galaxy will try to rebound after getting blown out at home 4-2 to the Seattle Sounders in a game that I don't necessarily consider a horrible game, except for the fact that they lost to Seattle, and losing to Seattle is almost never allowed. So, having said that, you sort of understand where you're going from and where it's happening. We should also get a special guest call in. I'm expecting Kevin Baxter of the LA Times to call in, and he is live in Texas at Frisco, Texas, to be able to call in and tell us about the field conditions and anything else we want to talk about. And, of course, we are waiting for the LA Galaxy to come out with the starting lineup as well, which should be out. My guess is kickoff is going to be closer to that 15-minute mark. So we're going to certainly see. Somebody already asked us, it's at Who's Philly Todd asked us what player is going to be the difference maker in this game. I think it really could be somebody like Sebastian Lletget, or if you wanted to talk about somebody who has been hot for the LA Galaxy, the LA Galaxy have been playing well with Giovanni Dos Santos. All right, let's see if we have a starting lineup It looks like we do have a starting lineup. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up so I can actually read it here. It looks like Robbie Keane will be up top. Sebastian Lletget has been moved away from his central position so that way Steven Gerrard can come into this team. He will be playing out on the left-hand side. Giovanni Dos Santos will be playing underneath Robbie Keane. Raul Mendiola picks up on the right-hand side. Remember, we talked about on Friday night him not being on the playoff team for LA Galaxy 2, a game that LA Galaxy 2 lost. Raul Mendiola is now starting for the LA Galaxy. I think that's a good step in the right direction here. You have Jeff Lorenowitz taking up his defensive midfield role alongside Steven Gerrard there, so you could sort of see if they'll stack that and turn Giovanni Dos Santos into a diamond position. You have Ashley Cole, Yella Van Dam, and AJ De La Garza makes his return to the starting lineup along with Robbie Rogers, Brian Rowe in goal. There you go. You wanted AJ De La Garza in place of Daniel Steres. You have him. The bottom line is to get AJ De La Garza onto this field, and I think that in this particular case, that's exactly what's going on, and that's a good thing if you're an LA Galaxy fan, regardless of who maybe you thought you wanted to be in there. Daniel Steres should probably still be in there. If it's me, that's fine. But I'm excited to be able to see what AJ does in his probably one of, I think a lot of people would be considered his perfect role sort of in that center back position. He lacks the height, but whatever he lacks in height, he makes up for in decision making and his ability to go forward. So the LA Galaxy looking to take a relatively good lineup into FC Dallas. My one real hang up, and I'm going to tell you right now what that hang up is, and we'll talk to Kevin Baxter about it and see what he says as well, is that Steven Gerrard has been moved back into the center and he is right beside Jeff Lorenowitz, and you have to have somebody defensive cover for Steven Gerrard because the defensive side of his game hasn't been going for quite a while. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on Jeff Lorenowitz, but you're taking away Sebastian Lletget, who I thought was possibly a revelation in terms of being able to play in that central position. And so you're going to take that away now. And whether or not that pans out, we're going to have to watch, but that is definitely really one of those things that you want to see for the LA Galaxy. So, people on Twitter are confirming that we made a joke on our podcast that Bruce Arena listens to this show. I don't think he actually does, by the way, just in case you were wondering. I don't think my head's that big. I think some of the players have heard it on occasion. I don't think it's there. But regardless, he has put AJ De La Garza back in. I wrote an article on Corner of the Galaxy that you can go and read where it talks about AJ De La Garza and the benefits of having him on the field and using some very basic numbers to make my case for AJ De La Garza. All right. So we'll see if that indeed happens. If AJ De La Garza can play well and make me a very smart person, of course, we'll see how Robbie Rogers and his defense does. I think last game he was almost as atrocious as Daniel Steres was on defense. And quite honestly, the defense's ability to absorb the pressure and then to be able to take a bunkered team out of this is something that you want to see. And the LA Galaxy have a problem with their defense is that they like to get forward because the LA Galaxy rely on those outside backs to get forward. So you can understand why they do that. You can understand where it comes from, but they're getting caught too far forward. Yella Van Dam got caught too far forward whenever Daniel Steres was beat by Jordan Morris. And Robbie Rogers didn't anticipate the play at all and didn't help Daniel Steres out. You had Ashley Cole who likes to get up on the left-hand side, which again, that's great. That's what you want to see. You want to see Ashley Cole get forward. But at the same time, you have to be wary of what happens when you press forward. Jeff Lorenowitz is that backstop. I thought Jeff Lorenowitz in the Seattle game had one of his best games I've seen him play in a while, and he really supported Sebastian Lletget in the center. So Jeff Lorenowitz was going to have to do the same thing again, but understand that he's not going to get as much help as he got with on the defensive side as Sebastian Lletget came out. So Steven Gerrard is just simply not going to play that again. I think the big question mark is how the center of the field is going to play for the LA Galaxy, because Jeff Lorenowitz and Steven Gerrard being paired up next to each other, that's a question mark. I think everybody agrees that has to be a question mark right now, because we simply don't know what we're going to get out of Steven Gerrard on the defensive end of the ball. And you're saying, hey, Josh, why do you even need Steven Gerrard to be? You have to have Steven Gerrard do something in that center if he's going to combine with Giovanni Dos Santos, if he's going to be able to combine with Robbie Keane. I would like to see that partnership, that information, that formation that you're going to get between Giovanni Dos Santos, Steven Gerrard, and Robbie Keane, and how they're able to play around each other. Remember, this is an LA Galaxy team who realistically doesn't look like they ever have an idea of what their best starting lineup is, and that's probably because they're being forced to play some designated players that I don't necessarily think should be on the field. If this was Josh's team and Josh got to make the decisions, I think Steven Gerrard would be on the bench right now and Sebastian Lletget would be back in the center, and you'd have the speed of Emmanuel Boateng out on the left-hand side instead of Sebastian Lletget. Sebastian Lletget is great. He's quick. That's what you want to see. You want to see the quickness. I'm all for that. All right? But at the same time, you need some speed sometimes, and Emmanuel Boateng has been shown to use that speed well on occasions. I think that's what you're trying to see right now. So we'll see how everything goes, and I don't necessarily agree with Daniel Steres being out there. I'm also going to look to see how Dallas and their height can pressure the LA Galaxy on the defensive side of the ball. So again, it's going to be a really good one. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Javi, one of our listeners, is at the game. He lives in Texas. Javi is at the game already tweeting photos out at LA_Galactico. You can follow Javi there. He's there. So this is what we have right now. We have an LA Galaxy lineup that looks like they could be pretty good. And I'm going to see if I can find my FC Dallas lineup. And if you happen to have the FC Dallas lineup and you just want to tweet it at me, I'm all for that too. Let's see. It looks like no FC Dallas lineup yet. Nope, scrolling through Twitter, don't see it. So as soon as that comes out, we'll be able to discuss that a little bit as well. But this game should be kicking off right around 6 p.m. On Spectrum Sportsnet. That's the old Time Warner Cable Sportsnet. And we're going to take you all the way up to that kickoff. In about 3 minutes, we're going to be joined by Kevin Baxter from the LA Times, who is there in Frisco, Texas. So you have that to look forward to. But I want to hear what you guys think. AJ for Daniel Steres. You guys okay with that? You not okay with that? 949-734-4217, or you can tweet at me at Galaxy Podcast. Let's go back and check some of the live standings that we have right now. In the Eastern Conference, New York City FC is up a position and is now in the lead. Toronto FC and New York Red Bulls trying to respond to those. You have, again, the New York Red Bulls 1-1 at halftime. This all sort of goes into that Supporter Shield standings. FC Dallas currently still in first place with that Supporter Shield lead at 53 points. The LA Galaxy could climb within 2 points of FC Dallas tonight with a win in Frisco, Texas. New York City FC is second in that Supporter Shield standings, 51 points. Toronto, who should be playing here shortly, and I'll go up and see if we can find them. There are 0-0 still with DC United. This game is in Toronto against DC United in the 34th minute. So Toronto FC has a huge chance to be able to climb into a tie with FC Dallas in the Supporter Shield. I don't know what FC Dallas is thinking, if they're thinking this is a must-win game in order to keep themselves alive in that Supporter Shield, but it's certainly something that has to be on their mind, as Toronto FC is probably the favorites to beat DC United at home. Toronto is a good team at BMO Field, especially since they made that stadium renovation, and I would be very surprised to not see them win that game. So I think you have to imagine that Toronto FC's with 53 points. Was reading one of the Twitter accounts. Actually, you know what? We're going to stop right there because it looks like we're going to have Kevin Baxter joining us on the phone. Kevin Baxter from the LA Times. How are you doing, buddy?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I hear that you are in Frisco, Texas. Wonderful Frisco, Texas. Wanted to see how everything is shaping up there so far.
Well, everybody's on the field warming up, and the weather's nice. It's very mild. It's not the Bruce Arena always dreads coming to Dallas because it can be so hot and humid, but
right.
Weather will not be a factor tonight. The field has, if you saw the picture I tweeted out, the field has a lot of football stripes on it. They played a high school game here this weekend. But the field looks pretty good from the press box, so I'm assuming everything's on equal footing, and the weather won't be a problem. The field shouldn't be a problem. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and the LA Galaxy announced the starting lineup. Kevin, you have maybe a return to the lineup, I guess, for AJ De La Garza, something that I've been interested in seeing. I think a lot of reporters have been asking the questions to Bruce Arena why AJ wasn't playing, but he's back in the lineup now. What do you think that gives the LA Galaxy in terms of defensive ability?
Well, one of the things with the defense is since De Jong left, in my opinion, it seems like they've had trouble keeping their shape and remaining disciplined. And I actually wrote that. I thought that Steris would be out and that AJ would be in his place because AJ really got caught on that first Jordan Morris goal last week against Seattle, and it was kind of an unforgivable error. And that's the kind of discipline and shape problems that the Galaxy have been dealing with. So bringing AJ De La Garza in, he's a solid defender. He's healthy again. He's had some injury problems. He may not give some of the athleticism that Daniel Steris has, and he's certainly not the same size as him. But it's kind of a conservative move, I think. It gives them more stability on the back line. AJ may not make a lot of great plays, but he's going to make the solid plays, and he's going to stay at home. And I think that's what the Galaxy are really looking for. They've given up 11 goals in their last 4 games. That's just too much. So they need to play a little bit solid defense and give their offense a chance to get a goal or two and make that stand up.
Well, the other addition to the lineup, a little change-up, has come back. I guess he's healthy now. We saw him as a sub-appearance against Seattle. Ended up drawing a penalty kick, which Robbie Keane finished, but Steven Gerrard is back in the lineup. He has taken basically Sebastian Leget's spot in the center and pushed Leget out wide. What do you make of those moves from Bruce Arena?
I think those are solid moves, too. When Gerrard is healthy, and obviously Bruce Arena knows better than any of us, the fitness of his players. When Gerrard is healthy, I think he's a real offensive threat, offensive help there. Sort of getting the ball up to the front is what I want to say to Robbie Keane and Gio. There is a problem with Gio and Robbie running to the same spot a lot. I think Gio, again, talked about discipline. Gio's going to have to stay at home and do what he's supposed to be doing in the position he plays now and let Robbie roam up front. I think another interesting lineup move, though, was Mendiola getting another start. Landon on the bench, which I think we could have anticipated. I think he still needs at least he'll have 2 weeks before the next game to get healthy. But Ima Boateng then back to the bench and Mendiola starting in place of him. The thing I like about this lineup, though, is when you look at the guys on the bench, Alan Gordon changes the way the offense plays. With Gio and Robbie, shorter players, the ball is on the ground, they play on the ground. When Alan Gordon comes in, it changes everything, and he can play in the air. So, Bruce Arena can go to the bench and bring in a game changer in Alan Gordon. And I think the same thing with Ima, with Boateng. Mendiola plays the way he plays. Again, a little bit of a conservative move. I don't know that he's going to be a great help to the offense, but he's going to be a stay-at-home sort of holding midfielder. If Ima were to come on, again, that would change it. He'd push forward. There'd be a lot more speed. So, I like the lineup, and I like the way that the guys on the bench give Bruce an ability to change the game, 180 degrees with a couple of substitutions.
Yeah, Dan Kennedy on the bench, Bazio Husidic, Alan Gordon, as you mentioned, Leonardo, Emmanuel Boateng, Landon Donovan, and Daniel Steris. So 2 central defenders on the bench for Bruce Arena and a backup keeper, and then some game changers with Landon Donovan, Alan Gordon, and Emmanuel Boateng. It'll be interesting to see who Bruce then goes to the bench with first there, Kevin. If the Galaxy need a goal, do you bring in somebody like Emmanuel Boateng to try to beat with speed, or do you bring in somebody with Landon Donovan and obviously the pedigree he has?
Well, I think Landon would be the guy you'd want to go to if you're trying to change the game. But don't forget Allen. If the Galaxy see something on corner kicks, for example, or maybe they think that Dallas is susceptible to something, Alan Gordon has played really well, I think, the last month. He could be a guy that could come in. But, when you look at all the individual matchups and all that stuff, this is kind of a must-win game for the Galaxy. If they don't win this game, they can forget the Supporters' Shield. They may have already sort of thought that might be out of reach anyways. But they need to finish in the top 2 in the conference. They do not want that one-round elimination game. If they win this, they pull within 2 games of Dallas, or 2 points of Dallas, with 2 games to go.
Right.
They can make up that deficit. If they lose, they cannot catch Dallas. And then Colorado, if Colorado were to win today and the Galaxy were to lose, the Galaxy would need 4 points in the last 2 games, and they would need 4 consecutive Colorado losses to finish second. So you can see how important this game is. With a loss, with a win, it leaves the Galaxy alive, both for the Supporters' Shield and gives them a much better chance of finishing second. With a loss, they're looking at a first-round elimination game, and they really want to avoid that. As even Robbie Keane said the other day in training, if it's a home and away, 2-leg series, you got to like the Galaxy. But in one game, anything can happen.
Right.
And soccer is one of those unforgiving sports. One small mistake and it's 1-0 and you lose, even when you're the superior team. The Galaxy can't afford to put themselves in that position again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Colorado is hosting Portland, and they will kick off at the exact same time as FC Dallas, LA Galaxy. So that'll be a game that you'll sort of want to keep an eye on as well. And like you said, Kevin, a lot of things will shift and move as these teams kick off and everybody comes through. It looks like I have the Dallas lineup. I'll read it out here real quick because we haven't said it on air yet. You have Rudy up top with Barrios and Akindele. You have Mauro Diaz in the center, Kellen Acosta, Carlos Gruezo, the Maynor Figueroa, and Matt Hedges side. Both of those guys are on yellow card warning, so if the LA Galaxy want to attack a defensive side, perhaps the left side of the FC Dallas defense is where you want to go, and then Walker Zimmerman and Atiba Harris with Chris Seitz in goal. So FC Dallas has been, Kevin, the best team in Major League Soccer this year, sort of from the very start, and have been very good. Already won the U.S. Open Cup, already have their CCL ticket booked for next year in the next tournament, and I believe they're already getting ready to advance in the CCL as well. So they've done a lot of really great things as it goes forward with the CONCACAF Champions League in this 2016 year. Do you think all of these games that they've had to play recently could possibly take a toll on them down these last 3-4 games for them?
Yeah, they've stumbled a little bit. They've kind of gone through a Galaxy-like stretch, and they're not playing their best soccer right now. And this is the time that you need to be preparing for the playoffs. It builds confidence. It builds consistency. It builds chemistry in these final games. People talk about teams clinching early. In any sport, they clinch the playoff berth early, and they can relax for the playoffs. I think you find out that the opposite happens, that once you clinch early and you let your guard down a little bit, things change. So Dallas needs to start getting a little bit of momentum going, too, heading into the playoffs. They, like the Galaxy, not quite as bad as the Galaxy, they stumbled last year. They had a spot at the Supporters' Shield and lost out of the last game of the season last year. So they're going through something a little bit similar. But the first 15 to 20 minutes could give a good indication where this game is going tonight. If Dallas scores first, I don't believe they've lost at home in a game when they've scored first. So that would be, they're going to hunker down and sit back and maybe play 7 or 8 behind the ball because they need this result. You talk about how important it is to the Galaxy. FC Dallas wants that supporter shield that they didn't get last year. Colorado, with a game in hand, is breathing down their necks. And if they were to win tonight, that would give the Galaxy a playoff berth, which would be great for the Galaxy, but would also move them closer to FC Dallas, which would be bad for Dallas. So there's a lot to watch with these two games tonight. There's a lot on the line, both in Colorado and in Dallas, as far as the playoffs go. Yeah,
it should be very interesting. Again, about 40 or so minutes from kickoff, or at least from the start of coverage at 6 p.m. So that's where you want to go at Spectrum Sportsnet or on Spectrum Sportsnet. Spectrum Deportes is when that game will kick off right around 6 p.m. All right, Kevin, we'll let you go. Get back to the game. Good luck covering it there. Hope everything goes as swimmingly as it has so far, and I'm sure we'll get you back on the program sometime next week. All right?
Thanks. I love the call. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. All right. There's Kevin Baxter from the LA Times. A great guy. Always glad to have him on the show with us. And so we'll of course, check in with him anytime we get a chance. All right. Let's see if we can get you some more information. If you're looking at the Eastern Conference and at the Supporters' Shield standings, New York Red Bulls are now up 2-1 on the Philadelphia Union. This is in the 53rd minute. Philadelphia had scored first. New York Red Bulls scored one before the half to tie it 1-1, and now they've come back in the second half and are up 2-1. This moves New York Red Bulls currently into first place with the tiebreakers over New York City FC and drops down New York City FC and Toronto FC into second and third in that Eastern Conference, which means the New York Red Bulls are now just 2 points behind the Supporters' Shield and FC Dallas. Kevin was talking about this conundrum that FC Dallas is in, having to play a whole bunch of games, having to do really, all of this work, played as deep as you can in the U.S. Open Cup and won it. Going through the CCL trappings with all of those games right now, and now having to face off against the LA Galaxy twice in their last 3 games in order to win the Supporters' Shield. They're going for the double. They could very well be going for the treble. FC Dallas is a wonderful, wonderful team. They're going to be fun to watch tonight. I fully expect them to take it to the LA Galaxy. This is not an FC Dallas team, in my mind, that's going to sit back and relax. This is an FC Dallas team that's going to take it to the LA Galaxy. And if the Galaxy want to come out on fire, and they need to come out fired up, they can't be sitting back and playing defense. We've seen time and time again this year this LA Galaxy team go into a defensive shell all right, and then struggle mightily with that defensive shell and not being able to do it, okay? So the LA Galaxy are best when they're attacking, okay? But as you saw in the Seattle game, there still has to be some discipline with that defense and with what can happen with the LA Galaxy. They can't get caught too far forward. You don't want to see guys like Yella Van Dam. I know we love to see it. I know everybody's yelling at me right now. I can tell. I know you want to see it. Okay, but the bottom line is that Yella Van Dam traipsing through the center of midfield a lot of times isn't what you want to see from your central defender. You want him a little more disciplined. Although he certainly is a playmaker, and I'm not one who's going to sit there and say, "Oh, that's a horrible idea. Why would you ever?" It's just ill-advised. You just need to make sure that everybody's on the same page when you do that. And if that happens, then you can have Yella Van Dam going through center midfield, creating plays, doing all sorts of stuff. Phone lines are open, 949-734-4217, about 5 minutes before our first break here. Our first and only break, as I do about a half an hour at a time. But I want to get more of your thoughts on the game. So please tweet at me everything else that's going on at Scott Utterson. He says this is Wendy's dream lineup. I understand that. Certainly something, except that kind of not really the dream lineup whenever you look at it, because Sebastian Lletget got moved out of the middle, and quite honestly, that could be something that that Wendy might not necessarily agree with. So it's one of those things that you have to see. Let's see. If you're looking at it right now, there's a wonderful statistician who goes and looks into all of these playoff races and everything else right now. It's at InOnIt, INONIT. It's David Caldwell, and he just tweeted out the LA Galaxy would right in the playoff bye race with win in 6-pointer. Okay, basically they call it the 6-pointer because if you can take 3 points and keep the other team from getting 3 points, then it's a 6-point swing, all right? If they win, they would have a 42% chance of getting that playoff bye in the first or second part of that. So 42% chance with a win. A draw would be 14%. A loss would be 7%. You heard Kevin Baxter just talk about it. That is exactly what could happen right now. If the LA Galaxy win, they have a 42% chance of being one of those top 2 teams. With a draw, basically, they go to 14%, and a loss is 7%. 7% chance of one being in the top 2. The LA Galaxy cannot afford to lose this game, and quite honestly, a draw would be disastrous as well. It's one of those things that you want to keep an eye on as it's going forward. The LA Galaxy may risk something to get 3 points if they're going down the stretch, although it would be very unlike Bruce Arena to give up points. Let's see. You have Zero Cools tweeted, and he goes, we've got our AJ Rogers pairing in the worst possible game to experiment with it. Let's hope this one ends well. Listen, we haven't seen it. We have never seen AJ and Robbie Rogers this year on the field with each other without Daniel Steres also being in the lineup. We have no idea this year what that looks like. All right, we can use our previous years to look at AJ De La Garza and what he has done at that central defensive position. We can do that, and we can say, hey, I think you feel pretty comfortable with that, knowing that AJ De La Garza is back there in a position that he's played so well. That's fine, but we don't know how much Rogers is affecting that defensive issue. I will tell you right now that when Robbie Rogers plays on the field, granted, he has not played as many games or started as many games as AJ De La Garza. Rogers has only started 16. This will be 17 for him. AJ De La Garza was 20, now 21. Okay, they've each played in some games. That's sort of what we have, but we know that when AJ De La Garza is on the field, his goals against average, or the team's goals against average, this is with Daniel Steres basically, when he's on the field, the team's goals against average is under 1 goal game. All right, we know that when Robbie Rogers is on the field, that number balloons up to 1.45, 1.5, something like that. I have to go back and look at my notes exactly. All right, but those are the things that we know that we've seen so far this year. So how much of the defense isn't Daniel Steres? Because whenever AJ De La Garza plays with Daniel Steres, AJ De La Garza plays just fine. So does Daniel Steres. All right, that's 20 games. So we have at Kevin MNTL at KVNMNTL, and he says, I think we're getting out of here with at least a point. # wishful thinking. A point would be great. I mean, in most cases on the road, you go Bruce Arena wise, a point is great. That would be wonderful. Would love to see it up to a certain point. I think that would be fine, right? But you also have to understand that maybe a point's not enough right now. The LA Galaxy do you trust this LA Galaxy team to go on the road and win a home and home? That's where the question then becomes, okay? So I'm concerned with this LA Galaxy team and thinking that they can just go in here and walk in and get a point. I will tell you this. Remember, LA Galaxy, I know I'm gonna cause some pain. You know what we're going to do? Before I even cause that pain, I can go ahead and take a quick break, which allows me to take a quick little breather, all right? And if that happens, then we can come back and talk about the pain that was the U.S. Open Cup semifinal loss to FC Dallas at home in extra time, and why that makes me feel better about this game than I wouldn't have if I didn't see that game, all right? So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy's live pregame show ahead of the FC Dallas LA Galaxy game coming up at 6 p.m. I'll be right back.
Living in my head, breathing in the noise. The struggle's like an open mouth without a voice. So here's to you and I, canary down the mine. That's all this was, a warning sign, a warning sign.
Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy live pregame show ahead of LA Galaxy taking on FC Dallas in Frisco, Texas, coming up at 6 p.m. That game again is on Spectrum Sportsnet, Spectrum Deportes, the old Time Warner cable stations. Make sure you head on over there when you can. Game again coming up in about, a little less than 30 minutes. We had Kevin Baxter on in the first segment talking about the LA Galaxy and their need to win this game. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they can pull that out. I'm a little skeptical. I don't know about you. I guess I should tell you, Josh Guessman here once again at Galaxy Podcast if you want to tweet at me. I'm looking at your tweets. I'm waiting for your calls. 949-734-4217 is our wonderful telephone number. I've already apparently made Manny late. He says, when you're watching at Galaxy Podcast pregame and forgot you still have to leave to the viewing party. Got to go. I understand. It's gonna be interesting to see how this lineup does. This is an experiment. We talked about Zero. Zero Cool saying, this is probably the worst game to experiment with something like this. Yeah, it is. You change the center of defense. That's an issue. You change the chemistry between the two central defenders, Yella Van Dam and Daniel Steres. Daniel Steres isn't there anymore. You have to imagine that Daniel Steres, having played 28 games, that he would actually play 31 games. I think if it all comes down to it, I think he's missed only one game. So it may have been 30 games, but playing and starting 28 games next to most likely Yella Van Dam, that you wouldn't have an issue with any of the chemistry issues that you might have with somebody else. All right. So when you look at that, you have to ask yourself, what's going to happen in that central defense? All right, I'll tell you why the U.S. Open Cup game, the loss that the LA Galaxy suffered, obviously in extra time, the loss to that game was comforting to me in knowing the LA Galaxy traveling here. I will tell you this, that FC Dallas starting a first team lineup in that game. Remember, they hadn't played, I believe, in 10 days, or could possibly even been 7 days. But they hadn't played basically in a full week. They had their full first team lineup available, and then they come in and they play against, the B team of the LA Galaxy, quite honestly. So whenever you look at all that and you take that into account, it's interesting to sort of see that the LA Galaxy were more than capable of playing with that team. All right, the FC Dallas is not a better team than the LA Galaxy in terms of on the field. They've been able to get more wins, absolutely, and they have been the best team in in Major League Soccer, but do you think that the talent of the LA Galaxy can't match up against FC Dallas? I don't believe that. You had the B team talent match up against FC Dallas for 90 minutes, 5 minutes away from winning that game in that U.S. Open Cup semifinal. So all of those things you take into account. The LA Galaxy, while falling short to FC Dallas, I do not think are a worse team than FC Dallas. I will say that FC Dallas has been playing better this year. We've talked about this LA Galaxy team at length. We've talked about how they've been like just chronic underachievers, how they have frustrated every pundit, fan, anybody who watches Major League Soccer. I overheard two prominent broadcasters before the Seattle Sounders game talking about the LA Galaxy. All right, and basically they were saying something like, yeah, I mean, when you look at the LA Galaxy, they realistically should have 5 or 6 more wins. And if you put 5 or 6 more wins on the LA Galaxy, imagine where you're at. You're at 11 wins. Put them with 5 more wins. The LA Galaxy have 16 wins and 15 more points than they do. All right, actually, that's not true. You have to actually multiply it by, 2 times 10. So they'd have 10 more points. So they'd have 58 points and be leading the Supporters' Shield right now, would be leading the Western Conference, would be looking to wrap up a CCL chance if they got those 5 more wins. And can you look back at the games that they've drawn? Most of the games that they've drawn haven't been steals where you say, oh, man, that game, it felt like it was a win. There's a couple, 2, 3 maybe. But look at the other ones where you say, wow, the LA Galaxy dominated in this game, and they didn't get 3 points. All right. Philly just equalized, although New York came back and equalized again. That game is crazy. If you want to watch a game right now before the LA Galaxy game kicks off, watch this New York Red Bulls Philadelphia game. Let's see. Yes. It is now in the 68th minute. New York Red Bulls up 3-2. I was just about to tell you, oh, it's tied. But no, it's not. New York just came back again. So it's 3-2. In the 68th minute, New York Red Bulls were dropped out of that top spot in the Eastern Conference. They are now back up in that. If you watch the live standings on MLSsoccer.com, this is where you can have the most fun in the world whenever a bunch of games are going on. I don't know, at least to me. Maybe it's just because I'm a complete nerd whenever it comes to Major League Soccer. We have about 25 minutes left in the show. 949-734-4217. If you're at a viewing party, you're watching us on your phone, put that down, call us in for a second. I'd love to get your predictions. Prediction time is now. If you think there's a key player, I want to know who the key player is. If you think the LA Galaxy are going to walk away with this 7-0, then I want to talk to you and ask you what kind of beer you have been drinking. All of this stuff right now is up for grabs right here on Corner of the Galaxy, the live pregame show. 949-734-4217. Give me your predictions. I will choose one lucky person to be a winner of something that I have here in the office. Perhaps LA Galaxy socks. Let's just say we'll give away some LA Galaxy socks right now to what I deem is the best caller, or perhaps even the best tweet. So start hitting me up. At Galaxy Podcast is the cheap way to go. I'll tell you right now, if you have a good phone call, you're going to win this. So I think that that's what you should focus on right now. That's what you should do. I could give away something fun and entertaining, and they're Galaxy socks. I don't know that they get much better than Galaxy socks, in my opinion anyway. So go ahead, send them on over. Let's see what you got. 949-734-4217. The LA Galaxy, listen, they need this game. You heard Kevin Baxter talk about it. 31 games played now. They are 11 wins, 5 losses, 15 draws. 15 draws. You could be like Colorado, which, by the way, Colorado is getting close to the same record as the LA Galaxy, except Colorado has 12 wins. They have 5 losses, and they have 12 draws. They are 3 games behind the LA Galaxy, basically, right now. 29 points, or 29 games played. The LA Galaxy haven't played 31. Both teams play tonight, so you will see 32 and 30 whenever that goes on. Oh, because my math can't count. So they're 2 games. 2 games ahead or behind with games in hand. So Colorado is in the driver's seat here. They really are. I mean, you look at what they're going to be able to do. Now, I have just watched them play in person. 2 weeks ago, I watched them play against San Jose, and I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed at all. They've had some injuries. Obviously, Jermaine Jones not being on the field has been a big one. My good friend Kristen Larson says 2-0 LA Galaxy. Kristen's in the running for the Sox right now, I'll tell you, and she'd happily take them. A hardcore LA Galaxy fan in Wisconsin who comes out to games on the regular basis. Kristen's going to mop the floor with you guys if you don't call in and give me your predictions. So 949-734-4217. Kickoff now approximately 20 minutes away, or at least the we're going to assume that that's right around what time kickoff will be. It'll be a couple minutes after that, but I want to make sure to get you over to Joe Tutino, and I believe it's probably going to be Kobe Jones on the call for Spectrum Sportsnet covering this game. Both of those guys are great. You're going to enjoy that game, but I'm going to take you all the way up. We got another 20 minutes to go. So again, Kristen Larson in the running to win the LA Galaxy Sox, and she will take them from you. All right, so I want to see what you can get. Let's see. We had I Am Not Unusual talking about the speed and mobility of the FC Dallas lineup. Possibly could cause a lot of issues for the LA Galaxy defense, and I don't disagree with that. All right, we got a call. 949. Who's this?
This is Eli. I think LA Galaxy is going to win. I think the score is going to be 3-5.
So you think the LA Galaxy are going to score 5 goals?
Yes.
All right, who's going to score the first goal?
LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy is going to which player? Who's your favorite player? Robbie Keane. All right, Eli, I'm going to mark it down here, all right? I want you to send me an email whenever you get a chance, okay? Have somebody send me an email, and I will put you in the running to win some LA Galaxy socks. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
All right, Eli, how old are you?
I am 8 years old.
8 years old, and how big of an LA Galaxy fan are you?
I'm a very big fan.
Very big. Do you go to a lot of games?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do. Who is your favorite LA Galaxy player?
Robbie King.
Robbie Keane is the best. So that'll be good. All right, Eli. Thank you for calling. We'll talk to you soon. I like your prediction. 5-3 for the LA Galaxy. Eli in the running for the Sox. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, there's Eli. Eli just blew all your calls out of the water, but keep trying. I mean, I guess if you have a cute kid and you want to put him on this show, that's fine with me. I have no problems with that. I will use that cuteness to my advantage. All right. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, real quick update. LA Galaxy 2 out of the running. Out of the running for USL playoffs. They got knocked out by Swope Park Rangers. An unfortunate decision by one of the players that I have not been very high on throughout the year. All right. Jose Villarreal picked up his second yellow card early in the second half. LA Galaxy 2 battled. Eventually, I think lost 3 or 4-0. I stopped counting after a while. It was rough. It was a rough one. But quite honestly, LA Galaxy 2 very much in that game, despite the fact that they were at 10 players. All right. Looks like we have another call. We have another call from 323. Who's this?
Josh, what's going on? It's Jose.
Hey, Jose, how's it going? I'm already telling you, Eli is stealing those socks, dude. So yeah, I want to hear what you got though.
Oh, well, I'm glad that AJ finally gets to start. It's been forever, it looks like, and looks like Bruce Arena does listen to the podcast. So you got to pat yourself on the back for that.
I think
with your article and then going all off on AJ. We need to start him. You don't really care who he replaces. Yeah. But glad that he's getting to start.
No, that's all good stuff. That's all good stuff. I'm with you. I agree right now that's good to have AJ on the line. If he really listened to the show, Jose, he would have kicked Robbie Rogers to the bench, quite honestly. But hey, that's fine. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to take it. I'm going to be happy. But yeah, go ahead. Your second point.
Okay, my prediction. It's even with AJ in there, I just think Dallas is going to take it. I'm thinking 2-1. I do think Robbie King's going to score the goal. One of those factors. So I do agree with Eli on that.
That's good.
But then another thing is, Robbie Keane is also playing for his Galaxy career at this point, right? Because his contract's up at the end of the season. So the more goals he racks up, the bigger the argument that he can make with contract negotiations. But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a 2-1 Dallas win, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that will knock the LA Galaxy basically out of a really good shot at trying to get even that second place in the Western Conference. Certainly ruin any CCL or excuse me, any supporter shield inklings that they may have. Now, the other thing that we haven't talked about is that the second place is really important as well because Dallas has already clinched the CCL spot with their U.S. Open Cup, Jose. So being the second best team with the second best record in Major League Soccer is very, very important because basically you're going to get the person who wins the supporter shield. You're going to get the next best record in the opposite conference, right? So if FC Dallas would win, let's not make it FC Dallas. That way it would be easier. Let's say Toronto FC wins the Supporters Shield in the Eastern Conference, and the next best record in the Western Conference would pick that up, and it would be FC Dallas, but they already have a CCL spot. Then you could see the LA Galaxy sliding into a CCL spot in a backward slide. But the second one there is important, Jose, just because of the playoff implications and getting that first round bye. A home and away for the
I think that's probably the most important part is just trying to avoid that play-in game because, again, in a one-game scenario, anything can happen. And as you guys saw on Sunday against Seattle, even at home, you just never know. You don't want to kind of put yourself in that situation where your whole kind of title championship run could end in just one game. So I agree. Trying to wrap up that second seed, aside from the CCL implications, just for leading up to MLS Cup, I think that's the more important aspect to have in mind. I'm also saw that Sebastian's back in the wing. I know some folks were trying to see why can't he just partner up next to Steven Gerrard, but the way I see it, I think if you partner Gerrard and Bojet in the middle, Sebastian's going to be doing more of the defensive duties. I think he's getting gassed out a lot quicker compared to if he's playing in the wing. So I kind of understand what Bruce is doing, and of course Jeff is more of a trained center defensive midfielder. Even if Jeff Hardy, I know he's one of the guys in the team that's in yellow card watch.
Right.
So if he does pick up a yellow, I know he's going to miss the next game, but I kind of get what Bruce Arena's tactics in that sense. But personally, I still throw on Legit there.
Right.
Just to kind of see how that tandem would work. But even knowing that Sebastian's going to be doing most of the defensive duties at that point. Anyway, just wanted to kind of give a call. Appreciate you taking the call in, and hopefully, my prediction is wrong. Of course. As a Galaxy fan, everyone would want the Galaxy to win every single game.
Right.
But just looking in hindsight, how Dallas has been playing the entire season, and then they're at home, I just can't see any other scenario or any other result than a Dallas win.
Yeah, it would be a little surprising, although Dallas has been drawing games as of late. It wouldn't be totally out of the question, Jose, to see Dallas draw this game at home against the LA Galaxy. But again, I think if you're playing the odds, you're playing the favorites, sort of what's going on, you have to see FC Dallas as a favorite in this game, which could work to the LA Galaxy's advantage. I go, Jose, I'll let you go, buddy, and we'll talk later, all right?
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks. All right, Jose calling in, trying to get in some plays for those socks. I don't know, Jose. I think Eli still has it right now. And Flying Soccer Dad has informed me that Eli is his kid. So there we go. We have figured out who Eli belongs to. So I will know where to mail those socks whenever the time comes. They have something right now that is up on MLSsoccer.com. It's called the MLS playoff picture if the playoffs started today. I'm not sure if it's 100% updated, but it sort of feels like it is right now. So let me refresh it one more time to see if it's semi-live. All right, and if it all ended right now in the Western Conference, you would see FC Dallas and Colorado getting the first and second round or the first round buys. Okay, then you would go to the knockout round match where the LA Galaxy would host Seattle, who is the 6th seed. And for all those people who told me that Seattle's dead and they're not making the playoffs, hey there, smart guys. Who was smart enough to say that Seattle could definitely make the playoffs. And right now, Seattle has the reigning MLS champions, Portland Timbers, out of the playoffs. All right. So again, you want to talk about how difficult it is to win back-to-back championships or continuously be in the playoffs in Major League Soccer. Yes, almost everybody gets in the freaking playoffs. And that's one of the things MLS Soccer eventually will have to change. With the 2 more teams that are coming in, you cannot increase the amount of teams who make the playoffs. That's just the bottom line. You got to keep them where it's at right now. And if you increase the teams, then finally being in the playoffs might actually be something very, very difficult instead of just everybody gets in. All right. That knockout round match would be the LA Galaxy, the 3rd seed, the 6th seed, Seattle Sounders, and then the 4th seed would be Real Salt Lake versus the 5th seed, Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City on a razor's edge right now as far as I'm concerned, with a bunch of different things going on with them. Let's go through the scores in the league again. Again, I hit refresh as we get closer to everything right now. LA Galaxy kick off in approximately 11 minutes, and you have the New York Red Bulls who are winning 3-2 and it is in the second half still, so they're still up. You have a second half game right now going on between Toronto FC and DC United. Toronto and DC United are tied, all right? Toronto needs to win this game, quite honestly, if they're going to keep looking at climbing those Eastern Conference, and if they go up in this game, they very well could do that, and I could see them being a lot better. Let's see. You had Toronto FC and DC United in the 53rd minute. New England won. Sporting KC won. New England hosting Sporting Kansas City in the 51st minute as well. Games still to kick off tonight. 6 p.m. is the FC Dallas LA Galaxy game and the Colorado hosting Portland. And then you have 7:30 p.m. where San Jose is hosting Real Salt Lake. Another one to watch a little bit later on after the LA Galaxy game is over. You can watch that game to find out sort of where Real Salt Lake is and how they're doing. Then you have Orlando and Montreal and Vancouver and Seattle playing tomorrow on October 2nd, all right? Those games are the ESPN and the Fox Sports game as well. So the LA Galaxy about, 10 minutes away from kicking off, or at least 10 minutes from this show ending and getting you guys ready for kickoff, all right? The LA Galaxy need to win this game. It's very, very simple. One of the things, I think the other question mark that's going to come up in this game is Brian Rowe. I know lots of people have been questioning Brian Rowe in terms of how he's been playing and how he's been doing. I'm still one of those as well. Although I think that Brian Rowe's had a great season. I think that he's been supremely solid at times since he let that goal in against Real Salt Lake in stoppage time that saw Real Salt Lake draw even 3-3. He has not been the same person. All right, let's go over to 626. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brian Bixby on Twitter here.
Hey, Brian. How's it going? Thanks for calling in.
Good. I'm calling from Pasadena, right near buddy Jose.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right, so what do you want to talk? You want to give me a prediction? What do you got?
Well, I just want to say thanks for doing the pregame. This is also been enjoying it for the past hour. But my prediction is 2-1 with Galaxy winning. I know Dallas have been a really strong team all season. But I think they're in similar form right now, and I'm hoping Gio gets at least a goal with some confidence that I hope he got from his recent call-up to the Mexican national team.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that, I think, on the podcast, is getting that confidence boost of being called up to the Mexican national team. Now you want to see him show it. Right, you want to see him show that confidence that he has, and the only problem that I have is that every time he's on the field with Robbie Keane, it doesn't seem like you get the Gio who takes over a game. So if he's going to do it, this would be the game to do it. And granted, Robbie Keane gave him a great pass in the Seattle game that could have moved the LA Galaxy up 2-1 whenever the game was tied, and Giovanni Dos Santos couldn't get it around. My honest opinion was he took a bad touch on it, trying to move away from goal a little bit, and then forced himself into the chip where Seattle was able to make the save. But nonetheless, you look now at Giovanni Dos Santos and what effect he has. My big question with him is you have 3 players now, Steven Gerrard, you have Robbie Keane, and you have Giovanni Dos Santos all sort of vying for the same position on the field, which is that withdrawn striker. Gerrard's going to move up into that space, and then Keane and Dos Santos are going to drop back into that space, and we've seen it time and time again. Those guys sort of collide. And while it worked good in the first half against Seattle, Brian, do you think that could be another issue, is that the LA Galaxy not having a set starting lineup at all this year with only 3 games left, again, mixing it up? Do you think there's going to be chemistry there?
Yeah, that's been a really frustrating thing as a Galaxy fan this season, kind of not having an ideal starting 11 for this game with Gerrard playing in this. I don't think he's played in this position this season so far. But we'll see if he can last the whole game.
Awesome, Brian. Anything else you want to get to, or are you good? You ready to start this game?
Yeah, ready to go.
Awesome.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, no problems. All right, there's Brian calling in to the Corner of the Galaxy live pregame show before FC Dallas hosts LA Galaxy. That game coming up on Spectrum Sportsnet in just about 7 minutes. I don't know. It's kind of closing thoughts now. I don't know what else to tell you. About 7 minutes left. The LA Galaxy need to get this win. Let's hit a refresh button on all of the league scores one more time, just in case anybody has scored recently, so that way I can have some more fun with this. Let's see. As everything stands right now, and as I hit the refresh button one more time, the live standings page, which has been my most fun thing going on, and unfortunately it's mostly Eastern Conference. Oh, good. All right, hold on. We got a call, so stop everything. Let's see here. 716, who's this?
Josh, it's Steven.
Hey, Steven. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad. What I was actually calling before I get the prediction, because I know you're up against it, is there a chance
yes,
that the Galaxy can win this and FC Dallas can get the Supporters Shield and win MLS Cup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's still a chance. Obviously, there's FC Dallas has 2 more games to play and a whole bunch of other things. So, it actually could still happen. If you're trying to call in, by the way, I got like 4 calls at the same time. So keep calling in, and I will put you in as soon as we can to try to close out this show with the last 5 minutes. But yeah, no, there is. FC Dallas obviously could lose this game. You see the LA Galaxy sort of jump up right behind them. But FC Dallas still has 2 games, and one of those is against the LA Galaxy. So there's still plenty of chances for them to win the Supporters Shield. So if they lose this game, I wouldn't say they're out of it. In fact, the LA Galaxy's chances just get slightly better in trying to win that Supporters Shield, but it's not a lock for sure. That this win does not put the LA Galaxy in the driver's seat for the CCL for that Supporters Shield and the CCL spot. All it does is sort of prolong this argument that we have right now. All right?
Yeah, well, because I mean, I would love to see FC Dallas sweep everything, just because that would be cool. But I want to see the LA Galaxy to win one, because I don't like to download the podcast and hear upset COGers. I like listening and getting the articles and hearing that actually there's happy Josh instead of argumentative Josh and whatever Wendy was on Thursday.
She was feisty. We just termed it as feisty. All right, Steven, thanks for calling. I got some other ones to get to.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right, let's see if we can get somebody else. Let's see. Do I have another caller on the line? Let's see if I can get 323. Are you there?
Yeah,
Who's this?
this is Anthony.
All right, Anthony, you have a prediction for this LA Galaxy game. They're playing against FC Dallas coming up in just minutes. Who do you think's going to win this game?
I think LA Galaxy is going to win it 2-0.
2-0. You know how good FC Dallas is, right?
Yeah, they're in first place.
They're in first place. That's right, Anthony. But seriously, do you think that the LA Galaxy can really win? Who's going to score the 2 goals?
Emmanuel Boateng and Steven Gerrard.
I like those choices. I think Boateng off the bench would be a fun choice to see that happen, and Steven Gerrard could definitely do it. All right, Anthony, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Let's go Galaxy.
Let's go Galaxy. I like it. All right, Anthony calling in. I got about 4 more minutes for your calls. I like how you guys all save them up for the very end and make me work harder. That's nice of you. LA Galaxy kicking off against FC Dallas coming up in about 4 minutes. Switch over to Spectrum Sportsnet. I would suggest you start doing that right now, all right, because the game is getting ready to go. I am going to finish the show in approximately 4 minutes, and when I do, I will then go home and watch the rest of this game. So there'll be a delay and a little bit of a tweet as I go from the COG studios over back to my home so that way I can watch this game. So follow us at Galaxy Podcast. I certainly implore you to do that at KBaxter11 for Kevin Baxter, who joined us a little bit earlier. You're going to want to follow him as he is at the game. At LA Galaxy Insider Adam Serrano is also at this game, so you can follow him at LA Galaxy for all of your tweets, obviously coming from the team. But it should be a very interesting game now with just 3 minutes to go on this clock. Me personally, I think that the LA Galaxy have a very good chance of winning this game. I don't know if that's what happens, but I feel like they have more than enough talent. We've talked about it. I've said it already on this show, and we've talked about it in other ways. The LA Galaxy have more than enough talent to win this game, so there's really no excuse for them not to win this game, except for the fact that they just haven't been able to string anything good together. Could the LA Galaxy win like 4 or 5-0? I think they could. I absolutely think they could. This team is that talented, and if you get on a run against FC Dallas, you could score it. Do I think that's a possibility? Right now, no. I think a draw is probably the most likely outcome of this particular game. All right, that's what I think. All right, 949, who's this?
Hi, Josh. This is Barrett.
Hey, Barrett, what can I do for you? You have a prediction for this LA Galaxy game?
Well, I think LA Galaxy are gonna win 1-0.
1-0. I think that's an excellent score. Do you have a favorite player on the LA Galaxy who's going to score that goal?
Robbie King.
Robbie, of course. Robbie Keane scores all the goals, Barrett. I think that is an excellent choice, and I hope that your LA Galaxy win today, all right?
Thank you.
All right. There we go. We have about 2 minutes left. Your last chance to get in on a chance to win socks. I've already picked a winner, but maybe you can sway me. Maybe because in my mind, I have picked a winner. All right? So I'm telling you that right now. If you have a good call, you better knock my socks off in order to win those COG socks. We're now just 2 minutes away from ending this wonderful hour of LA Galaxy talk. I've had a good time. I hope you guys have had a good time too. I hope that everybody has had a good time so far. We've been busy. We've taken an hour of LA Galaxy talk. We've talked to Kevin Baxter. We've gone over league standings. We've showed you where the Eastern Conference is playing right now. Here at Corner of the Galaxy, we do our best to give you the best information, the most up-to-date information, so that way you can make informed discussions and basically blow all your friends out of the water whenever you tailgate with them. All right? I don't want you to keep us a secret. I mean, share us with those friends. All right? That's only fair. All right, but that's what we're trying to do right here on Corner of the Galaxy. All right, we're down to the last seconds of this particular show. I hope everybody has had just an amazing time. I enjoy doing these pregame shows, and whenever I can do them, I will do them. I would like to remind everybody I'm getting married in October 22nd, the day before the very last game of the season. There's a 90% chance I will actually be at the game the next day, and then I go on my honeymoon for 2 weeks, so you will not have me for 2 weeks, but we're working on something that will allow you to get your information still. I will not be involved because, of course, I will be on my honeymoon in Paris and in London, all right, for 2 weeks. And yes, timing is timing and everything else and all those fun things, but at the same time, it's important for me to get away. All right, I think that does it. We're wrapping it up. Eli, congratulations. You have won the Sox because not only did you call in first and provide one of the best calls I think that we had, I think that you were spot on. I liked your score prediction of, I think, 5 LA Galaxy goals. So, Eli, I will get in touch with your dad, and I will make sure that you get your LA Galaxy socks. All right? So, congratulations to Eli. Thanks for everybody for joining in. The game is on Time Warner Cable. I was going to say Time Warner Cable. I knew I would eventually slip into that. It's on Spectrum Sportsnet and Spectrum Deportes. That's where you can find all of the stuff that you're looking for this game coming up. I believe it's going to be Joe Tutino and Kobe Jones on the call, so you're going to want to head on over there right now as they're getting ready to go. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank you for patronizing this wonderful site that we work so hard to do, and I hope you enjoy the LA Galaxy taking on FC Dallas in a very, very important must-win game if they think they're going to be in the Supporter Shield and quite possibly for that second spot in the West that's going to guarantee them a first-round bye. All right, for everybody here at Corner of the Galaxy, I'm Josh Gessman. You've been listening to our wonderful pregame show. We will catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.